Hey guys, this is Ronmower, and I want to talk about the classic Nintendo 64 wrestling games. I know that not all of these wrestling games on Nintendo 64 are classic. The main ones I want to talk about are, well, the ones that I enjoyed back in the day. That's really Warzone, Attitude, World Tour, Revenge, WrestleMania 2000, and No Mercy. Those are the wrestling games that I enjoyed the most back in the day. And I guess I'll start out with NWO World Tour. WCW NWO World Tour. That was a pretty good wrestling game on N64. And at first I played, actually, I don't know if I'm going in order here. I'll go in order according to what we see on the screen here. Yeah, so World Tour, man, it was great in comparison, definitely in comparison to Nitro and Thunder on PS1. Those games were terrible as far as gameplay. Those games on PS1 were only fun because you got to hear the rants, like you got to select the rants and see what they say, and it had like video and visual and audio, something that 64 couldn't do. But for the gameplay itself, the actual wrestling action was freaking good on World Tour. It was fun to play that game, and you get to play as some of the wrestlers from Japan. I believe it's been a long time since I played that one, but that one was the first good wrestling game that I played on N64. It was good. It was fun to play, and yeah, I really enjoyed it back in the day. WWF Warzone. I had this game in reserve for a long time. Well, not that long, but it felt like a long time. I think maybe 5 or 6 months I was waiting for it to come out. That's nothing in comparison to me having to wait for Twilight Princess to come out. I waited like a year and a half, I think, for that because of the delays. But Warzone for Nintendo 64, I waited for this game for a long time because, man, it was the WWF Attitude Era. It has Stone Cold Steve Austin in the game. He was on the cover. And you had Kane in the game. You get to play as these guys for the first time ever in wrestling games. Kane and Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to make their debut in a wrestling game. Now, I think Steve Austin might have been in like WCW, Super Brawl, whatever, SNES. I forgot the roster on that. And Kane, I don't think he's been in a wrestling game before ever. He was doing other personas before Kane. He did Fake Diesel. He did Dr. Isaac Yankem. I don't think those characters ever made it into the wrestling game. So Kane, you got to play as Kane, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Ken Shamrock. Bret Hart is in this game, but Bret Hart was gone from the company at the time because he went to WCW, but I guess they didn't have time to edit him out. So he's in the game. Goldust, I think Mankind, Farouk, The Rock, the British Bulldog. And this is like, to the best of my memory, the first wrestling game where you create a wrestler. I might be wrong about that. I think this is the first wrestling game, the first one I played, where you can create a wrestler. So that was freaking awesome. That was fun. And it didn't age well, though. Because today, if you go back and play it today, it doesn't age well. Like World Tour has aged better than Warzone. But back then, and all the cheats you can unlock, it was actually fun, man. I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed it a lot. And the commentary you got Shane McMahon and JR, I think it is. JR, when you bounce off the ropes, into the ropes, against the ropes. And yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Warzone back in the day. As bad as it's aged like milk pretty much. But it was fun to play. I enjoyed it a lot back in the day. Okay, next, WCW NWO Revenge. Let's go. This is one of the best 64 wrestling games I've ever played. When I bought it the day it came out, I was working, and I could not wait to get off work to go and pick this up at Toys R Us. I had it on reserve, I believe. I went to go pick it up, took it home, played it. Oh, man, so many great memories with Revenge. And, I mean, this time it had entrances, not with the custom theme songs, but World Tour, I think, had the entrances where you walk down the aisle and stuff. Revenge, you had entrances. You can change the names of the wrestlers. I think you create a wrestler in that. Well, kind of. I don't know if it's a create a wrestler feature. I don't remember. But you can change the names of whatever wrestlers on the roster and make them look how they want to look and change their names or whatever. And the Battle Royal, which takes forever in CPU mode, but it's the Battle Royal's fun. And I mean, you got Raven, Jericho, Revenge was like World Tour amped up, World Tour times 10, World Tour on steroids. Revenge was so freaking awesome. You get to play as Goldberg. He was still undefeated here, and I was thinking, what if I use Lodi to beat Goldberg and end the streak? That'd be terrible. But it was fun. You got Disco Inferno. Ric Flair's not in this game because he was out of the company at the time. That lawsuit with Bischoff. Flair is in World Tour though, but Revenge unfortunately not. But Revenge is freaking awesome. You got Diamond Dallas Page in the game as well. Nitro on 64. I played it on PS1. I only enjoyed it because of the rants and the audio visuals, but the gameplay itself wasn't good. Two quote-unquote friends of mine play a prank on me in high school. They said, hey, let's borrow Revenge for the weekend. You can borrow Nitro. You can check it out. I guess I should have known better. But I said, okay. And I played Nitro on 64 is even worse because there's no visual audio to at least be somewhat entertained like it is on PS1. So Monday morning when I returned to school, Dave was laughing. Hey, like, I forgot what they said. Well, did you enjoy the game? Like, no, it sucked. Give me back Revenge. And yeah, so terrible game. I know it says on top. I don't know if did I say in the beginning. I'm going to talk about the ones I enjoyed. Not screw it. We're going to talk about all the ones I see right here that I know of that I played. I haven't played all these on the list. WWF Attitude, another one that did not age well, but was very fun to play back in the day. Create a wrestler. This time you create an entrance. I had fun. I had a lot of fun with this one. A lot of fun. Attitude was fun to play, just like Warzone. It was Warzone amped up. Unfortunately, did not age well, but it's really fun to play back in the day. So Attitude, yeah. And create, when you create your own wrestler, you give your own. You can create, not create your own interest music, but select whatever interest music you want for your character that's in the game. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one, creating wrestlers and playing the game. It was fun. I never played Mayhem, so I'm not going to go there. WrestleMania 2000. This is my favorite on the 64. I like it better than No Mercy. I just like it better than No Mercy for some reason. I know a lot of people say No Mercy is the best one, and I understand it. I personally enjoy WrestleMania 2000 better. I don't know if it's the roster or what it is, but I really enjoyed WrestleMania 2000. Everything you can do in Attitude and Warzone, you can do in WrestleMania 2000, but it's much better gameplay because this time it's being made by THQ. This time THQ is making the WWF games and are no longer making the WCW games. So these WWF games became much better when THQ took over. I mean, you got WrestleMania 2000. I mean, man, I was in high school when it came out. Me and my friends, Vendor 22 and others, we played this a lot. And we had our own stable. Like me, my Vendor 22 and some other friends. I had my own stable in the game. You can create stables. And yeah, championship mode, WrestleMania 2000, definitely my favorite N64 wrestling game. Now this next one, I wish I can say it's ECW, but it's not, even though it is. ECW Hardcore Revolution, the video game, as Joey Styles would always say every time plugging the game. ECW Hardcore Revolution for Nintendo 64 was complete garbage, and I had a feeling it would be, but I still wanted to play it because it was ECW. It was their first wrestling game, and I wanted to give it a chance. I knew there was Acclaim. They're using the engine, the WWF engine, Warzone engine that they used. Jeez, man. All three of them switched. Like THQ went from WCW to WWF. Acclaim went from WWF to ECW. Well, those two switched, I guess. I don't know what was going on. Then you got, what was the company that made Mayhem and Backstage Assault? EA Sports. It's like they all, I guess the contracts ran out, and was the WCW not happy with how they're making their games? Because THQ is doing a killer job. And then I can see why maybe WWE was not happy with the claim. Maybe they weren't pleased with Warzone and Attitude. I don't know, but you got THQ taking over the WWE games now. And you got Acclaim doing ECW. I guess they got pushed out the door by the WWE because now who's making the THQ is making the WWF games, and it's very confusing. Like the companies switched around or something. I don't know what happened, but ECW Hardcore Revolution. Joey Styles, God bless him. I know he was being paid to hype it up. ECW Hardcore Revolution, the video game. This game is extreme. Is as extreme. How do you word it? This game is just as extreme as ECW itself. No, it's not. And I understand for copyright reasons they could not use licensed music like Enter Sandman, Man in the Box, Walk. But beside all that, the gameplay itself was still garbage. Now, it's fun to stream. It's fun to let the CPU go at it on normal difficulty. Because if you put it on hard, the matches, it takes too long. On normal difficulty, it's fun just to watch the matches, see how they pan out. And in the chat, we can talk about the good old days of wrestling or ECW. But to play the game, yeah, I was very, very disappointed. I did not expect much. But I was disappointed. It played terrible. It looked terrible. This is during the time where we were now used to WrestleMania 2000. Okay, and Revenge. It's like going backwards. It's like being downgraded. Because Warzone and Attitude, we enjoyed it for what it was back in the day. If ECW Hardcore Revolution would have come out maybe like a year or two prior, okay, we probably would have loved it. But now we got something better. We got World Tour, Revenge. Yeah, World Tour came out before Warzone, but I think I played Warzone first. But Revenge and no WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy hadn't come out yet. WrestleMania 2000, that was the new standard for the N64 wrestling games. So ECW Hardcore Revolution was just terrible. And I hate to say that, but it's still fun to stream sometimes. And let me get this out of the way real quick because I never played it. Backstage Assault, I haven't played it, but I've seen it. I think Megadan likes it, or he says it's not as bad as people say. I've seen it, and I'm not impressed, and I do not want to try it. But let's talk about No Mercy. No Mercy, John Kreese's favorite game, sponsored by Cobra Kai. WWF No Mercy, of course, knocks it out of the park. Home run hit, home run game. I heard there was a bug that erased everything. I don't think I encountered that. But the gameplay itself, the Battle Royal is fun. Even though I like WrestleMania 2000 better, the Royal Rumble match is better than the WrestleMania 2000. It's more entertaining. You got the Godfather's Ho coming out. You got Mae Young coming out. And the CPU is actually smart. When the CPU opponent gets on the ring apron, the CPU opponent in the ring knocks him off, knows when to knock him off. Instead of just kicking them or kind of bringing them back in or delaying like they do in Revenge and WrestleMania 2000, the AI in those games were not as smart as the AI in No Mercy. So that was a game that I had a lot of fun with as well. WWF No Mercy. I mean, the game is great. Even though personally I prefer WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy is great as well. That's another wrestling game I really enjoy streaming a lot. Now, there was a 64 wrestling game that got scrapped, I think due to time constraints or something, and that was WWF Backlash. Yeah, that was scrapped. That would have been awesome if that came out, but I think by that time, I forgot what happened. If by that time they were working on GameCube's release, GameCube's about to come out, or time constraints, I don't know. I got to do more research on that. Maybe in the comments or in the chat you can tell me what's going on. But Backlash got scrapped for Nintendo 64. That would have been something else. That would have been great to see right there. Alright, so I just want to talk about my memories, my favorite and not so favorite Nintendo 64 wrestling games. So overall, my top three is definitely Revenge, WrestleMania 2000, and No Mercy. The World Tour is honorable mention. Warzone and Attitude are honorable mentions. Nitro, get out of here. ECW, I love you as a company, but for video games, get out of here. Mayhem and Backstage Assault, never played you, don't really want to. Alright, so that is it. I am out of here. Let me know in the comments, what are some of your favorite Nintendo 64 wrestling games? I am out of here. I'm Ronmower. God bless, and take care.